做啲咪祈禱啊，咁啊再跟住先有呢旭日主將碧海銀沙啊，咁同埋咧萬千里嗰啲馬仲韞喺內檔啊，入到嚟之後直路嘅時候，前面帶緊頭咧，而家咧啟外上賓過咗實際影響喎，哇撳住都上到嚟呢，冇落時大把喺手咁嘅，外檔殺緊上嚟同阿馬咧就亞瑟神劍中間就引以為榮啊，內檔咧冇乜位出就咪祈禱咧，掟出外檔嘅碧海銀沙，去咗200米嘅時候，前面出咗頭就係滿落時噶啦，後邊上緊嚟嘅馬咧就萬千里啦，咁中間咧做呢個亞瑟神劍就捱嘅，前邊咧仲係滿落時，但係呢個萬千里越逼越近啦，兩匹馬鬥噶啦，過終點嘅時候咧係萬千里同埋滿落時要影相爭第一、第二名、第三名亞瑟神劍，第4名係引以為榮。
As the summer began, Maurice would have a short break. The team would start planning for their autumn schedule. They originally chose the Mainichi Okan as the return race. However, due to the slow recovery from fatigue, they were forced to skip it and directly enter the mile championship without pre-race. Due to the questionable health condition and devastating 16th gate, Maurice was only the 4th favorite in this race. Well, we still have some good news. 2 years after their first collaboration in 2-year-old season, Ryan Moore was finally back. The best partners were ready to face any challenger.
から3番手番線のは後方から2番手しんがり追走レッドアリオンで半マイル通過47秒それほど速いペースではありません。前も十分に残れる展開です。レッツゴードンキが先頭です。さあイスラボニータは赤い帽子内々を通っています。そしてモーリスは外を行く、モーリスは外、イスラボニータは内、さあ外からモーリスが上がっていく、内をつくのか、出遅れたイスラボニータはまだ後方にいるぞ。さあ直線コースに入った。レッツゴードンキ粘るか、レッツゴードンキ粘るか、クラリティスカイ外から当選スターダム、内から KI エレガント、そしてアルビアーノが最内から来る、アルビアーノ来る、当選スターダム一番外からモーリス来た、モーリスフィールが来た、モーリスかフィエロか、内からレッツゴードンかアルビアーノか、アルビアーノかモーリスか、イスラボニータも来た、そのからモーリスだ、モーリスだ、マイル界に敵はない、モーリス1着、休み明けも関係なし、マイル界の絶対王者モーリス5連勝で G1 連勝、重賞3連勝、これがマイルの絶対王者モーリスです。
このレース、外枠はどちらかというと不利というふうにも言われてましたけど、モーリスにとって、ムーアジョッキーにとってあまり関係なかったですね。
In this race, like outside stall was not good for in Kyoto, but it wasn't matter with you and Maurice.
Yeah, you got to have the horse, but luckily we got a good start. And I was thinking the pace would be stronger than it was, but was able to get a nice position, following good horses with a bit of cover. And all day it's not been easy to make up ground, and so was conscious of that. But he, despite the draw and the pace,
Maurice reached the peak of Japan's miler. He became the first horse since Daiwa Major in 2007 to claim the mile double, winning the Yasuda Kinen and Mile Championship in the same year. With this promising status, Maurice set his sights overseas. To the king of the world, Japan's Maurice is coming for you.
If you started to follow horse racing recently, you've witnessed all-time great horses in Hong Kong. When it comes to the most dominating horses in Shatin, your answer might be Kind Rising, Romantic Warrior. Well, if you ask an experienced Hong Kong fan, the answer would be different.
透出嘅馬咧，有風花雪月喺中間，外邊有精彩日子，埋邊大運財騎內仲有啊！但係外邊咧，步步有上緊嚟，最後200米啦，步步有喺外邊咧，好似行過咁已經過晒㗎啦。中間位置有精彩日子，埋邊大運財，外邊嘅大賽波士接近終點，步步有好輕鬆贏出呢場香港一哩錦標啊！ 入直路嘅時候啦，前面咧就係風花雪月依然係佔先咗啦。咁啊，跟住第二位嘅馬友呢隻美麗之星出邊和信超影啊，花月春風中檔埋邊呢就係速龍啊，涉入內欄喎，黑衫有步步有，外邊追呢就係大運財，最出仲有駿馬名區，最後200米啦，透出嘅馬係美麗之星啊，中間步步有，一路追緊上嚟，再喺外邊位置仲有大運財，最後100米步步有都係行過咁贏呢場賽事啊，跑第2名嘅嘛係美麗之星啊，第3名就黑衫步步有啊，暫時殿後仍然係駿馬名區。好啦，直路啦，前面花月春風咧搖住佔先啲，咁啊見到紅帽咧就係風花雪月啊，咁啊外邊步步有行緊上嚟都追緊㗎啦，再喺入邊仲有速龍啊，戰利品騎內冇㗎，最後200米啦，見到呢隻步步有一節已經拋離咗個幾身位，駿馬名區外邊追緊，埋邊仲有花月春風接近咗啲步步有輕鬆贏啊，第2名駿馬。入直路啦，美麗之星帶第2位速龍，外邊將藍冚上嚟，入邊大運財賺唔賺到個位出嚟啊？中間位置仲有駿馬名區啊，外邊就步步有，最後200米美麗之星走甩一個身位，內欄大運財，外邊呢見到莫雷拉撳下隻步步有啊，行緊上嚟嘅咋，最後100零米啦，外邊步步有坐落去俾2步啦，已經以一個行過嘅姿態贏緊呢場董事杯啊，第2名㗎嘛，美麗之星啊，第3名。
No push, no whip. Effortless is the one and only description. This horse is called Ablefriend, trained by the 7-time champion trainer J.Moreira, born from the legendary Giant's Causeway bloodline. He was given the most badass nickname, the Black Clothes Giants. Well, literally giants. Ablefriend was a huge horse, constantly over 570 kilos. He once won a race at 590 kilos. Thus, the stable also called him the Elephants. The legendary jockey J.Moreira once said, "There are 2 best horses in my career. One is Rapper Dragon, another one is Ablefriend." Based on Moreira's interview, Ablefriend is an incredibly friendly horse. Also, he might be the only miler in history who can constantly show you 21 seconds last 2 furlong in shotting. This is his strength, but also weakness. He didn't have a long spurt, but under this distance, he was faster than anyone. Many people still believe if we only focus on prime, Ablefriend was even stronger than Golden 60 and Romantic Warrior, the undoubted world's mile king of the era. If you felt hype when Saturno Riff challenged Karin Rising, when Masquerade Ball challenged Romantic Warrior, then the duel between Maurice and Ablefriend is another classic.
先咗一個身位入嚟㗎，跟住第2位榮彩繽紛托摩亞外邊走啦，內欄有美麗之星中檔灰馬大印銀紙揈出去滿樂時，咁啊步步有跟住佢一齊喺出邊上，再喺馬林位置呢，先見到大印銀紙醒目名區鬥到嚟最後300，中檔榮彩繽紛，內欄大印銀紙美麗之星，外邊步步有，中檔位置滿樂時上緊嚟，最後100零米外邊步步有透出，但係滿樂時喺中間一路上緊嚟埋邊大印銀紙接近終點。滿樂時贏1哩錦標，第2名大印銀紙喺入邊，出邊係步步有啊！咁啊結果呢場賽事呢隻滿樂時開頭入彎嘅時候呢，俾隻步步有呢個勢冚落嚟，似乎過咗，但係終點前呢，最後100零米上翻嚟，第2名。
Maurice ended the 2015 season with the flawless victory against the world's strongest. 6 straight wins, 3 G1s, an undefeated year. Maurice became the 3rd sprinter and miler in history to win a JRA Horse of the Year. The other 2 are Taiki Shato and Lure Kanaloa. At this moment, Maurice entered the zone of all-time greats, from a nobody to the greatest in just 11 months.
The 5-year-old season began. Initially, the team planned to follow the senpai, just away to conquer the G1 Dubai turf. But once again, Maurice did not recover well from the fatigue and small injuries. The connections skipped the Dubai turf and targeted the G1 Champion Mile in Hong Kong. Ryan Moore sadly had other jobs in Europe, so they chose to invite another legend in Hong Kong, Ray God J.Moreira, the jockey of Able Friend. If you watched my Pakistan Star video, you will be even more familiar with him. In Hong Kong, HKJC would give foreign horses their translated Chinese names, some based on pronunciation, some based on meaning. For example, Deep Impact was called Big Shock, Stay Gold was called Golden Journey, and Lord Kanaloa was called Dragon King. Maurice was called Manleshi or Manloshi in Cantonese. Obviously, it is based on the pronunciation of Maurice, but the name in Chinese, coincidentally, has a romantic meaning. Man means full, le means happiness, shi means time. So we can interpret 满乐时 as the moments filled with happiness. On the field, the strongest opponent was Contentment, a two-time G1 winner. Last time, Maurice was the challenger, but this time, he's the overlord, the peak, everyone's target. Maurice is here to send the message. The Mile King is back.
仍然喺呢隻誰可拼啊！一直路啦，前面透出嘅馬美麗之星進馬名區，滿樂時都望空噶啦。再見到入邊白衫嘅榮彩繽紛等緊位，中檔追上嚟嘅馬仲安全檢查，喺馬林入邊包裝奔馳，外邊天才追出美麗大師，鬥到嚟最後200，透出嘅馬係滿樂時啊！入邊榮彩繽紛上緊嚟，外邊位置呢仲見到包裝奔馳上緊，出邊位置仲安全檢查，接近終點，滿樂時贏緊噶啦，第2名。 榮彩繽紛，包裝奔馳第3、第4名呢就美麗大師啊！咁啊結果呢場賽事呢隻滿樂時以一個輕鬆姿態贏出呢場冠軍1哩賽，後邊呢嗰啲馬都俾佢掟甩晒啦。榮彩繽紛今場主動翻啲啦，咁啊個第2呢都俾人掟甩咗，第3名有驚喜喎！呢隻包裝奔馳，至於第4名姍姍來遲啦，美麗大師。
Joe, what a performance. He never looked as though he gave you any worrying moments at all.
No, it was like just fantastic. He was brilliant. He was lucky, obviously, to be getting a good position in the race, and I was like with plenty of options to pull him out anytime that I want. So once I did, I just hold on him. When he saw daylight on his front, he just started to get going by himself, and he won very impressively. He's definitely one of the horses that has given me one of the best feeling.
Very well done, Joe. That was my next question. Enjoy.
Last 2 furlongs, 21.79 seconds. Maurice showcased the fastest final spurts, a brilliant return, a perfect declaration. After the race, the next goal is simple. Yasuda Kinen. Last year, he claimed the first G1 for his career. This time, he's back for back-to-back. Winning Yasuda Kinen back-to-back is one of the most difficult achievements in Japan. By then, only Yamalin Zephyr and Vodka could do this. Maurice was ready to be the third one. Yet, history would teach you a lesson.
嘅標誌名區慢放嘅啫，滿樂時總算可以捉得住啊！所以第3位就係不朽真鋼嚟嘅貼欄，第4解密精英啊走出去我當個明微島啊！然之後榮彩繽紛啊跟住佢哋㗎，咁內側嗰邊咧仲有亞瑟神劍啦，然之後碧海銀沙引以為名啊，同埋咧順德光照喺尾3、尾4度啦，再跟住個馬咧先見到野長尾啊，同埋天行直進㗎，入到嚟之後直路嘅時候前面帶緊頭咧，仲係啊呢隻嘅標誌名區滿樂時要騎咯，咁啊外檔上到嚟咧，咦野長尾啊，同埋明見到有啲周手要喎，咁啊中間上緊嚟嘅馬咧，仲有咧就係呢隻嘅解密精英嘅，去咗200米嘅時候。 哇前面未停喎，呢啲標誌明佢絕期有益，反應麻麻啫喎，呢貝洛時打落去咧仲未追得近嘅，後邊殺到上嚟咧就明未到啊，同埋呢隻嘅野長眉，但係前邊咧標誌明區慢放之後睇嚟可以帶到啦，爆得啦，國招第一名標誌明區，第二名咧睇貝洛時因為引以為榮啦。
Maurice, the overlord, got defeated. The victory belongs to Logotype. Remember this name? I put a hint here. This Yasuda Kinen was heartbreaking, but also really interesting race. The defeat was caused by so many factors. The more I researched, the more details I found. First of all, Logotype's trainer, Teiyura Yoshida, instructed jockey Tanaka to do front running. And then, no other horse won this strategy. So there were no horses trying to compete Logotype's position. As a result, Logotype comfortably ran at a slow pace. First 3 furlong 35 seconds, first 5 furlong 59 seconds, which was one of the slowest Yasuda Kinen in the past decades. What else? Other jockeys didn't notice that. Sounds familiar? Yes, that was basically what Kazuraki Ace did in the Japan Cup. The pace was troublesome, and at the same time, Maurice himself had some issues. In the middle of the race, Maurice was obviously restless. He surged forward early and tried to catch Logotype. Thus, jockey Tommy Barry tried to hold back. This behavior made him lose extra stamina. In the end, Maurice didn't showcase a competitive speed. Last 3 furlong 34 seconds. Another factor is the schedule. Maurice just finished a race overseas in May, and then he ran again in June. From what I've seen in Maurice's career, he might not be able to recover fast. Oh yeah, the Hong Kong rival Contentment also ran in the Yasuda Kinen, and he finished dead last. After all this analysis, we still need to congratulate our winner Logotype, a 6-year-old horse, the 8th favorite with 37 odds. 3 years ago, he won the Sasuke Show, and then he never claimed any victory, not even an open race. The third place, Fierro, was a 7-year-old silver collector, still fighting for his first G1 win. From just away to Maurice, they witnessed the rise of 2 legendary milers. They aged, they declined, yet they had the heart of champion. Maurice used to be the underdog. Now, he is defeated by another underdog. Today, the biggest mile stage belongs to Lee Senbai. Following this defeat, Kazumi Yoshida, the Northern Farms representative, hinted at the distance extension. With Hori's careful training and health management, Maurice entered the 2000-meter G2 Sapporo Kinen. This time, the jockey was J.Moreira again. Unlike Yasuda Kinen, Maurice should be well prepared now. However, the rainy day reminds you something different would help him.
内は1番ヌーボレコルト、そして押しながらモーリスが今4番手の外まで上がってきました。さあ先頭ネオリアリズム先頭、2番手にはマイネルフロストが上がってくるか。外からモーリス、間山勝エース、レインボーラインがぐんぐん追い込んでくる、ネオリアリズム先頭、モーリス2番手、さらにはレインボーラインが2番手に並んでくる。ネオリアリズムゴールイン、ネオリアリズム逃げ切りました。
Maurice lost again. Despite just the first 2000-meter attempt for prime Maurice, the result was still worse than people's expectation. The strategy was a surprise. I did not expect to win, said Neo-realism's jockey, Lemaire. Neo-realism was not an accomplished horse. He was never a front runner, just like logo type. Front running beats Maurice. Moreira indicated that the heavy track was just hard to chase. This strategy gave neorealism his first graded victory. Born on almost the same day as Maurice, carrying the bloodline from the great Neo universe, he had been fighting for this title for 3 years. This is the turning point. Just like Maurice, neorealism would start his journey to claim his first G1, not in Japan but in Hong Kong, with the same strategy with Moreira against Pakistan star. After the 7 winning streak, Maurice suffered his first losing streak in 2 years. The connections felt a bit complicated. Neorealism was also from Northern Farm, also trained my trainer Hori. They should be happy, but they can't be happy. The horses that defeated Maurice were much like himself. Late bloomers struggled for years through the storms and trails and finally reached the dream stage. Could it be the beginning of his downfall? People started to doubt. Despite the defeats, Yoshida strongly declared the goal again. This horse will not return to mile. As the autumn approached, the goal was obvious: Tenno Show. After that, the team will arrange a retirement race at the place made him the hero, Hong Kong. For the first time, Maurice will be facing the G1 level mid-distance experts. Real Steel, the Dubai Turf winner, son of Deep Impact's father of Forever Young. Lovely Day, the previous year's Tenno Show and Takarazuka Kinen winner. What's worse, there was one more horse that could be really terrifying for Maurice. Ashin Hikari, the superstar front runner. He's the first Japanese horse to win the G1 Prix Estafette in France. Even El Condor Pasa failed this race in 1999. No need to explain how hard it was. However, Ashin Hikari did not just win. He completely blew away. The final record was 10 lengths. His opponents were not weak horses. They were G1 winners, Derby winners in France and America. 10 lengths on a bad track condition was ridiculous for a Japanese horse. IFHA got shocked and directly gave him 129. The world's best racehorse over Wings, over California Chrome. At the end of the year, the rating was adjusted to 127, but it was still one of the best Japanese performances. More importantly, his jockey was the best front-running expert, Yutaka Take. This would be a nightmare for Maurice. Another big issue is Maurice's ability in Tokyo 2000 meter. Maurice's portrait was more similar to his grandpa, Grace Wonder, instead of his father, Screen Hero. Screen Hero was a Tokyo master. He won the Japan Cup against 3 Derby horses. Yet, Grace Wonder was a right-handed track master. All his 4 G1s were in Nakayama and Hanshin. Maurice's best races were also right-handed. Lord Derby Challenge Trophy. His best performance so far was in Nakayama. The Mile Championship was in Kyoto. Not to mention Shatin in Hong Kong. In contrast, his 2 Yasuda Kinen performances were normal. He couldn't gap his rivals. Now, they can't even make sure if his stamina is enough. Everything was not confirmed. Well, we still get some good news. The GOAT's Ryan Moore is back. The king may fail, but the real king will bounce back. It's time for duel.
4コーナーカーブに差し掛かって大歓声に包まれる府中の直線。さあライバルに引導を渡す。これが最後の直線コース。栄心光が逃げる。手綱を持ったままラブリーデイ山勝エース。さあムーアがしごいてモーリス先頭に立つかどうか。まだ手応えがいいのはラブリーデイか。さらに内の方からは3番アンビシャス上がってくる。内いっぱい入ってモーリスは先頭だ。モーリス先頭1番人気。このポテンシャルは確かだ。モーリス先頭2番手12番リアルスティール。モーリスリアルスティール3番手14番のステファノス。やっぱり強かったこのポテンシャルモーリス。
You're questioning his ability? Maurice showed you the king is still the king. He drifted outside. He ran extra distance, but the fastest was still the fastest. This was his final run in Japan. Now it's time to set his foot for one last time. On the track made him the mile king, Shating in Hong Kong. This time not for mile, but for 2000-meter Hong Kong Cup. The 2016 Hong Kong Cup was a real battlefield. Japan sent Maurice, Aishin Hikari, and Lovely Day. Hong Kong's representative was the legendary Designs Unwrong, a four-time G1 winner, a horse strong enough to defeat Ablefriend twice. If Ablefriend was the peak of Hong Kong miler, then Designs Unwrong was the hope for mid-distance. A final race with such a strong opponents, Maurice was really fortunate but also unfortunate. Most great horses in Japan retired in Arimakinen against the all-star horses in the era, with the cheer of thousands of fans. Maurice, however, faced probably even stronger enemy in the land outside Japan. Will it be a perfect ending? Well, things were a bit complicated.
向南啦，再揈出去出邊啊，威爾頓上啲，響內欄綠色帽咧，咁啊內欄尾二咧就係嗰隻滿樂時唔係好夠位喎，出邊衝中嘅皇后寶戒入。
Down to the final home stretch, Maurice was so tightly blocked inside, completely packed with 4 horses, far behind Aishin Hikari. No matter how strong, how fast you are, if you are blocked, the race is over. A perfect ending was not for Maurice. A bittersweet career, a disappointing retirement. Open your eyes. Welcome to Ryan Moore's race.
南啦，再揈出去出邊啊，威爾頓上啲，響內欄綠色帽咧，咁啊內欄尾二咧就係嗰隻滿樂時唔係好夠位喎，出邊衝中嘅皇后寶戒入正最後直路，榮進之光之嚟咗4個馬位啊，咁啊見到啲馬群逐漸逼近㗎啦，中檔嘅位置有呢隻咧就係朗日青天，入邊滿樂時逢馬過馬 S 走位上緊嚟啊，再見到出邊追，仲有張南，最後100米到啦，滿樂時已經拋離群區，贏緊呢場香港杯㗎啦，至跑第2名嘅馬天才啊，第3名呢，咁啊需要影相啊，有朗日青天同埋善德福，出邊張南都叫做係近嘅馬。咁啊結果呢場賽事睇翻呢隻滿樂時嘅贏馬姿態係相當輕鬆，尾2尾3內欄入彎，捐嚟捐去揾位左穿右插入邊，一衝上嚟已經係贏啦，跑第2名天才，第3朗日青天。
邊嗰隻威爾頓呢？就因為太早發力啦，咁啊變咗真係冇咁長衝程啊！大佬真係好難。你睇下滿樂士啦，佢係喺天才隔離，咁啊天才攞出去，佢係攞入邊，咁啊跟住見到阿莫亞開邊，跟住轉位，咁啊根本即係行過你隔離嗰啲馬咁嘅真係。
你見到佢彈出嚟嗰啲，
佢係喺天才隔離。咁啊！天才攞出去，佢係攞入邊， 咁啊跟住見到阿莫亞開邊，跟住轉位，咁啊根本即係行聲都唔聽。嗰啲睇到喎，嗬。好啦，又睇下莫亞點講啊。
That was a breathtaking performance from the stands. It just took our breath away. What was it like to be sat on?
He really quickened exceptionally well. He's a very good racehorse, and he's got better every start through his career. And it's a great way for him to sign off. It went wrong at the start. He wasn't on his best behaviour, and he just got a bit agitated and came out very awkward. Luckily, the pace was on. It started developing, and once we were in daylight, he just quickened and put the race to bed very quickly.
Well done, Ryan.
He had a fantastic mind. He always wanted to win. He put everything into his races.
I want to say thank you very much to his connection for giving me a chance to ride him. I wish them all, and obviously Maurice himself, a very good luck on his new career as a stallion. Thank you very much once again. Sayonara.
He became a stallion in Shaddai due to the unique Grass Wonder bloodline. Maurice would often travel to Australia as a shuttle stallion. In 2021, Pixie Knights won the Sprinter Stakes. Grass Wonder's bloodline completes that fourth-generation G1 champion achievements. In 2022, Geraldina, the daughter of Maurice and Gentledonna, won the QE2 Cup. In the same year, Hitozu won the Australia Double Crown, symbolizing Maurice could continue the success of Grass Wonder in Australia. Hitozu's owner originally planned for cosplays and Japan Cup, but due to some severe injuries, he was sadly forced to retire at 3 years old. Until today, Maurice is still working as an important inheritor of legendary bloodline, despite not the most mainstream and impactful sire. He definitely deserves a special place in Japanese horse racing. This is the story of Maurice. Now, I'm gonna point out 2 questions. 1. Did you notice that I intentionally ignored some stuff in Maurice's story? 2. If I tell you even those side games got the copyright, we may still never get any anime for him. Do you know the reason? The video isn't over yet. Time for breakdown. Maurice's story is absolutely one of the most inspiring but underrated careers in history. From a storytelling's perspective, I believe he's a perfect material for an anime season. You want some connection with other Umas? Maurice has the bloodline of Grass Wonder and Majiro family. He had a great start in his career. He carried the weight of history, and then he struggled and got injured. Some Umas like Nice Nature and Stay Gold were struggling in G1 races, but Maurice couldn't even join a G1. He's a loser in open races. He was forced to quit, gave up his dream. He watched his rivals become stronger and stronger, and then he was injured. He was left so far behind. Isn't it a narrative of Umamusume Season 2? Isn't this a more extreme version of Tokai Tale? If you focus on the first arc of Maurice's career, it's already enough for an anime season. But the reason I call him the perfect character was the second arc. He come back. He took revenge. From nobody to the peak in such a short time. Isn't it the best underdog story like Oguri Cap? If you focus on the 4-year-old season, he's the undefeated overlord, just like the final boss Tien Oprao. And then he lost twice in his prime. He started to question himself, doubt himself, just like Kitasan Black. After the heartbreaking results, he overcame all the challenges. He became an international hero, just like Spatial Week. In the end, he had an incredible final race, just like Tokai Tale, a miracle return. Maurice can be a horse that has the ability to gather all the pros and cons from each and every Umamusume season. His career was so twisted, so inspiring and unpredictable. However, even though we get the copyrights, we may still have no chance. Why? If you are sensitive to the numbers, you might have noticed. Maurice made debuts in 2013 and reached prime in 2015. Do you remember the 2015 generation? Yeah, Duramente and Kitasan Black. In this video, I intentionally ignored all the Japan Cup Arima Keenan stories because Maurice was not part of it. In fact, Maurice is basically the phantom of Umamusume Season 3. But when you are watching the anime, you won't notice that because Kitasan and Diamond were both stayers. Meanwhile, all the mile races were dominated by Maurice. In the anime, Satono Crown actually mentioned she won a first G1 overseas, and that was the 2016 Hong Kong base, on the very same day of Maurice's Hong Kong Cup. What's more, Satono Crown and Duramente were also trained by Maurice's trainer Noriyuki Hori, which made him become the first foreign trainer to win 2 G1s on the Hong Kong International Racing Day. This explains why I said we may never get an anime for Maurice. Even though we have the copyrights, practically it's almost impossible to remake an anime season of the same era. If they are really do so, what about Maurice's rivals? Ashin Hikari, Mickey Idol, Real Steel, or even the Hong Kong horses? All of them are not Umamusume. And that's why I still telling you Maurice's story. I hope more Uma fans can learn this history. This legend should not be forgotten. Yet, there's another issue. It makes sense that Uma fans are not familiar with Maurice, but why Maurice is also not popular in IRL horse racing discussion? Well, that's another complicated story. Maurice was ignored in many aspects. You can even find some Japanese racing videos about why is Maurice seldom mentioned. Yes, he got mentioned for not being mentioned. What the hell is that? In fact, there are two main perspectives that support the idea Maurice's 6 G1 wins were overrated. First, the Hong Kong Mile. Earlier in this video, I spent some time talking about how great Abelfriend was. However, the horse Maurice defeated was not the prime version. After dominating 6 straight wins in the 2014 and 15 season, Ablefred traveled to Queen Anne Stakes, and sadly, due to the nervous emotion and the unique Royal Ascot racetrack, Ablefred only finished 6th. After this, Ablefred never won any G1 again. Some people misunderstood that he declined due to Ascot, but the real turning point should be the Hong Kong Mile. Before the race, Ablefred was found to have a high pulse in his right front foot, which results in a mild lameness. Despite the concern, it's not serious, so Ablefred still compete in the Hong Kong Mile and only finished 3rd.
They both run against each other. They both run at their very best. I can't split them. And just don't forget, I just said they both run in Sha Tin, which is used to be Ablefred's home yard. So if they both were running against each other at their very best, I think that was a very slight chance that Ablefred would go home as a winner. And just a good point that you just mentioned. I remember that international mile that Maurice won with Ryan Moore, and I think around 3rd with Ablefred. He wasn't at his best anymore. He was already dropping his form a bit, and he had some issues which wasn't very serious. He was still able to go to the race and perform, but probably limiting him to perform at his best. I would say he was kind of slide off. However, I came into the straight, I pulled out, and I just got on the outside of Maurice, and I was just looking at Ryan. At the race itself, Ryan to AA John, it looks like special, doesn't it? He's going good, isn't he? So even Ryan thought I was just gonna go past and beat him by a big margin.
Yeah, even Moreira and Ryan Moore thought Ablefred could win. This fact that Maurice had 3 G1s in Hong Kong somehow made some people think he's overrated. The second is the failure in prime. Well, this is the most critical one. Maurice, a mile king, failed twice in his prime. If you lost to some great horses, that makes sense. But Maurice lost to some horses that had been losing for years, especially the 2016 Yasuda Kinen. His final spurt was almost the slowest on the field. He almost couldn't even get a placement. You lost to the old horses who had been beaten by just the way for years, and then you call yourself a mile king. Well, it's time for my arguments. So first of all, was winning in Hong Kong that easy? Well, this stereotype came from the fact that many non-G1 horses in Japan won their first G1 in Hong Kong. Neorealism is a good example. Yes, that makes sense for 2000 meters to 2400 meters. Many Japanese horses, even Europe horses, could win a lot. But mile and sprints are another word. Hong Kong is known for it. They have deep connections to Australian and European race bloodlines. They have so many great jockeys and trainers from those countries. Even in some weaker generations, winning a G1 mile race is always a very hard thing. Before Maurice's victory in 2015, the last time Japan won the Hong Kong Mile was in 2005. After Maurice, the only time Japan won was 2019. The more extreme case is the Hong Kong Champions Mile. Yes, the race Junta Montar failed. Until today, only 2 foreign horses have won this race, and only 1 from Japan. And the only one was Maurice. Winning a Hong Kong's mile race is something that a foreign horse win the Japan Cup. No matter what era you belong to, it should be a great achievement. It emphasizes that you share the same title with all these great names. What about the failure in prime? Well, how many horses are undefeated? How many horses can always remain 100%? In May 2016, Maurice just finished the Champions Mile in Hong Kong, and then, after a month, he traveled back and attended Yasuda Kine. Isn't it something exhausting? If you won't blame Forever Young, Contrail, Almond Eye, or even Tien Opera O for being defeated in Prime, why blame Maurice? Yet, I want to point out a sad but true condition. Maurice may never become a JRA Hall of Famer. I want to share some knowledge of the voting of JRA Hall of Fame. The current regulation involves a vote by members of experienced press and media. Each voter can nominate up to 4 horses. A horse must receive at least 75% of the total votes to be elected. Only horses retired from 2 to 20 years are eligible to be voted. So I made a predict that if there's any trend that Maurice could be a Hall of Famer, it would be the upcoming 2 years. Why? Let's take a look at the 2025 voting. First place, Equinox, 90%. Well, it should be 100. Well deserved. Second place, Oju Chosen. Almost succeeded. I thought he would make it this year. And as I predicted, he did it this year. After these two, the other ones are really chaotic. Buena Vista, 34%. Maurice, 31%. Cesario, 17%. Sodashi, Heartscry. In 2026, Dodeus was added. So the upcoming 2 years will probably be the final chance for Maurice and Buena Vista. After these 2 years, we might get Forever Young, Crown du Nord, Jantar Montar, and even more and more great horses. Buena Vista has clear advantage. She's a mare. She dominated Fillies and Mares Award in JRA in 4 consecutive years. This is something even Almond Eye never did. Plus, she had some controversial racing results. If luckier, she could be a 9 or even 10-time G1 winner, more than Almond Eye. From this narrative, she's far more promising than Maurice. And for Dodeus, well, he's still young. He gave people a strong impression of defeating Equinox in the Derby. He almost won the Autumn Triple Crown. For Maurice, a miler, people don't have such an impression of him. He's a miler despite 6 G1s. He was not treated as some Triple Crown winners like Contrail or Mr. CB. Despite international achievements, he's not treated as good as El Condor Pasa. He's so good yet not impressive enough. After retiring for years, the only chance to shift this phase is breeding. King Kamehameha was not accomplished enough due to his short career. However, in 2024, his last year of qualification, he made it with his breeding. From Lord Kanaloa to Duramente to Almond Eye, he refreshed people's impressions with his bloodline. Sadly, Maurice and Grace Wonder's blood was never mainstream in Japan. Maybe until the very end, Maurice will become another absence in the JRA Hall of Fame, just like his grandpa, Grace Wonder. This is the bittersweet ending of Maurice. To conclude his story, let me quote a line from the JRA poster. Hero Resident number 78, Maurice, the legend of the strongest and fastest evolution. Thank you for watching this video. Comment if you want to see other horse lores. I'm RC. See you next time.